I would like to say something about my teachers. Now, I practiced Tantra for several years, and of course also shamanism, and a lot of that practice for me has been about opening my heart, raising my energy to the heart level and opening my heart. But the one experience that opened my heart the very, very most was my daughter's arrival. I have never felt such a heart opening as when welcoming a child into my life. Because all of a sudden, this is a person that I would die for, that I would happily die for. For all the talk about unconditional love, I don't know that it becomes any more unconditional than that. And I think that our children are actually teachers sent to us from the future. We often try to think that we are the ones that are going to teach them something. And yes, of course we are, in one sense, the very basic stuff about being alive, how to hold your knife and fork and so on. But we're missing the point when we think that we are the teachers. We are the students. The children are the teachers. Sometimes I liken it by an operating system on a computer. Now, I want to say that I'm Windows 3.11, but hey, I might be a Commodore 64. While my daughter, born in 2010, I mean, she's Windows of that era. And that's the difference. I might think that I'm coming in to teach her something with my Commodore 64 skills, and she is just so far beyond me. And I think that we need to see life that way, that our children sit on our shoulders, and hopefully that lets them see further than we ever could. I really hope so. I really hope so. So she and my other children, such wonderful teachers of reminding me of what is actually important in life. Being mindfully aware of where I am, who I am with, what I am doing with that, how I am building trust and love and relationship. There is no better teacher. I sometimes say that I'm self-taught. Now, self-taught is kind of an expression that you use when you can't point out a human teacher that you have. And I've never had a guru, I've never had a spiritual teacher in that sense. They all seem to bounce off me and I'm quite happy for that. But I have had plenty of teachers. I have plenty of teachers, and of course one of the most important ones is the mushroom. Now, for the first years I couldn't hear the mushroom. I took mushrooms every now and then, and I had fantastic experiences. I had therapeutic experiences and so on, but there was no actual communication. Not that the mushroom wasn't trying to communicate with me, I was still not able to listen. because I wasn't done doing my initial healing journey. But once I did my initial healing journey, then the energy shifted in me. And I remember vividly the trip when it all changed. Me and my then girlfriend, we had taken 5 grams of mushrooms. I think they were Cambodian. And we were just kind of relaxing into it, and all of a sudden I hear the mushroom tell me, go in and lie down on the bed. You need to meditate into this. And I had never heard the mushroom before. So I told my girlfriend, I need to go in and lie down on the bed. And she was all, no, don't do that, you'll fall asleep. And I said, no, I need to do it. It's telling me I need to go and lie down on the bed. So I did. And that first meditation, when the communication with the mushroom opened up, woof! I relaxed down into the bed, and I remember it was like I was floating in water. And all of a sudden, a hand on my chest, and it just pushed me down into the water, and then it just squeezed all the air out of me. And as I was at the murky bottom of what seemed like a lake, a small boat, a rowing boat, passed over me gently. And I won't go any further with that story right now, but it was all about death and rebirth and opening up a new channel, a channel to my greatest teacher. Now, people sometimes say, well, if you say that you're a shaman, well, then what tradition are you initiated in? And I think that's an odd question, because I'm initiated by the mushroom. I'm not initiated by humans. I'm initiated by the mushroom. And the mushroom has been very clear with me on this point. It says, you are not a shaman. You are a shaman in service of the sacred mushroom. In service of the sacred mushroom. And to be quite honest, I mean, the word shaman means neither here nor there in this context. I could just strike that and say, I am in service of a sacred mushroom. The only reason I use the word shaman is so that other people can understand what I do, or at least have an inkling of understanding. It's not important for me, it's not important for the mushroom. I am in service of a sacred mushroom. And I don't know, we're kind of like 5 to 8 years into my journey now, and I am being placed under the protection of a mushroom. And the mushroom starts teaching me, very clearly starts teaching me. And just to take an example, after one journey where I had released a soul that needed to pass over, when I had done that work, it often comes in that way. I am rewarded for the work that I do. I was lying with my legs up on a couch, and all of a sudden I felt a twitch in one of my legs, and I could easily have just changed my posture. I could easily just have kind of straightened out my leg or taken it down from the sofa, but no, I let that twitching continue because I felt that this is interesting. I wonder what this is. I wonder what this twitching is, and it grew in strength, and all of a sudden it was kind of, whoa, what's going on here? And I soon realized that the twitching wasn't actually coming from my leg, it was coming from my pelvis. It was coming from my pelvis, and now it was getting so strong that I had to put my legs on the floor, and I was just shaking. All of me was just shaking, shaking, shaking. And pictures started coming. Pictures started coming of me, 8 years old, running from bullies that wanted to hit me and wanted to push me into some bushes. And then all of a sudden the shaking took on another form. And then it's me, older, also afraid. And it just continued. And I asked my girlfriend, you need to sit here so that I can tell you what's coming up. And this went on for 1.5 hours. I was shaking, and there was just so much past trauma that was coming up and just being released. It was just tension. Traumatic tension and fear and anger just being released. And all the pictures were just woof, 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 woof. Now afterwards I was absolutely worn out. My God, what a cleansing. What a cleansing. And it was a mushroom that guided me into it, that gave it to me. Now, I think it was a day or two later that a person that I knew back then, we were just talking on the phone, and he said, yeah, I've just been to Stockholm. I was at a shaking course. I go, what? A shaking course? Yes, this is when we are afraid in life, we kind of store that tension in our pelvic area, like a dog that pulls its tail in when it becomes afraid. We do that too. And when we relax again, we never really 100% relax. And then next time we're afraid, the tension comes again, and then we never really relax. And it goes on like that, and we build up this tension throughout our life. And he told me about this, this method called trauma release exercises. And I was like, okay. And of course I had to know, what did you do with the pictures? And he said, what? Pictures? What pictures? Well, the ones that are connected to a trauma and so on. No, I don't know anything about any pictures, he said. But there's one thing that is very important, he added. You shouldn't do this technique more than 15 minutes. And that's kind of the story of my life also. I do things to the extreme. I do things wholeheartedly. Not to the extreme, wholeheartedly. 15 minutes, that just gets me started. But that technique, given to me by the mushroom, has been such a powerful technique. It helps me release tension, and I can use it in ceremony. As soon as something gets attached to me or something I just lie down and I shake it out. And the funny thing is that I've met like 2 or 3 people that say that they have gotten exactly the same technique from the mushroom. And I'm really interested in hearing where the TRE technique actually came from, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was given by the mushroom. Or let me give another example of a technique given to me by the mushroom. I was in utter despair once. having lost what I thought was the love of my life at that time. I was in absolute despair and anguish, and I just couldn't take it anymore. The mushroom came in and took me by the hand and led me outside and said, "Take off your shirt." So I took my shirt off, and it said, "Lay down on the ground, facing into the grass." Okay, so I did. And it said, "Now, say everything that you cannot hold anymore. Say everything that you cannot hold anymore. Because Mother Earth, anything that you can't hold anymore, Mother Earth can transform it." And I just started crying, sobbing into the grass, just putting into words everything that I couldn't hold on to anymore, all the sorrow and the sadness and the pain, and I was just crying and putting everything into words. I can't hold on to this anymore. I can't do this. I can't do this. This just hurts too much. It just hurts too much. Please release me from this. Release me. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And I went on like that for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. I was just crying into the grass. But then came a shift. It was like I had emptied myself out into Mother Earth. And Mother Earth was taking it all and transforming it. And all of a sudden I heard new words come into my mouth. I can do this. I can take it. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. And then the mushroom whispered in my ear and said, "Now, turn over, lie on your back instead, and take in the energy of the universe, and continue telling yourself that you are capable, that you can do this, that you can take care of all this pain." So I flipped over and I just continued saying what had started to be birthed in my mouth. I can take this. I can transform this. I am capable. I will be okay. I will be okay. Even if it is hard right now, I will be okay. Of course, the mushroom works very much in connection with Mother Earth. Goes without saying. The mushroom is the communicator, the mycelium that connects everything and helps everything communicate with one another, that sends messages out to everyone. The mushroom is excellent for nature connection. And that's Mother Earth. Mother Earth is my other great teacher. And just to give you another example of Mother Earth, I was once sitting inside after a trip, meditating, and all of a sudden I hear, "Come out to me, come out to me." And it was a tree on the neighbouring property, a tree that they had quite recently felled, and it was an enormous stump because it was a very old tree. And I just got this feeling that oh, I don't know if I want to do this. That tree has been cut down. I mean, that must be painful. But it insisted, it said, Daniel, come out to me, come out to me. So, yes, I went out to a tree. Climb up onto me, climb up. And as I walked towards it, I thought, this is going to hurt. This is going to hurt. And I climbed up onto the stump, and I was just stretched out. Ooh, into the energy of a tree. And I got to be the tree and see what a tree sees. Through the ages, trees grow to be old, much, much older than humans. And they are proud. Not in the human sense, in the natural sense. Just amazing, powerful entities. And I got to feel that feeling of being that big in energy. That tree wasn't dead. Yes, they had cut it down, but it was still very much alive and very communicative. And in these ways, Mother Earth speaks to us through all the beings that live in her embrace, both the ones that we know of, like trees and animals and grasses and so on, but also the more mystical beings. And I've gotten to know them too. The fairies, the little folk, and learned to be respectful that I am not alone here. I remember once we were tripping and we were going into the woods, and all of a sudden it was just stop, you're not welcome here. You're not welcome here, go around. And we realized that there seemed to be a party going on. A party of I don't know. We heeded the advice. We went around. But there seemed to be a party going on, and they didn't want us just clamping through the place. So we went around. And of course, the spirit world. The spirit world has been a teacher for me. The spirit world has been a powerful teacher for me, and I'll tell you more about some of my masters in the spirit world later on. But the spirit world, so much wisdom, so much clarity. And then people that have read a few books about shamanism come and ask me what tradition I am initiated in. Yeah, well, no, I'm not initiated in any tradition. My master is the mushroom, the sacred mushroom. My master is Mother Earth and the spirit world. Those are my teachers. Those are my teachers. And honestly, I mean, what shaman does not have those teachers? I wouldn't trust that shaman. that only had a human teacher. I mean, human teachers are great. I've never had one, but I imagine that there are some decent ones out there. But for me, I mean, one part of shamanism is what's called animism. The sense that everything around us is alive and communicative. You might get some tips on how to communicate with the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the spirit world, the mushroom from another shaman. Yes, absolutely. But that won't do. You need to go and actually talk to them also, don't you? Otherwise it just stays like some kind of knowledge that you don't actually have, because it isn't rooted in your own experience, in your own life. So I'm initiated by the sacred mushroom. But I have had human teachers. But as I've said before, they are in everyone. They are mainly in how I choose to meet other people. If I meet another person and know that, or rather, if I tell myself, this person is going to teach me something, if I have that attitude to meeting another person, everyone around us has something to teach us. And I have had many wonderful moments of learning from people, but they have been moments, not being under the wings of someone. Well, except maybe for my children, and at times my partners. What tradition are you initiated in?